Thanks for joining us here on World Tech Update. I'm Nick Barber. This week we're in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress. We'll start with Samsung, which announced two new smartphones at the show, the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. The more interesting of the two includes a curved screen that wraps around both sides of the device.
Plus, there's a new feature that lets you use the Edge to stay in touch with your favorite people. You can assign a color for up to 5 contacts. The Edge will then glow in that color so that you can see who's calling, emailing, or texting you without ever having to lift the phone.
The phones have 5.1-inch screens and incorporate glass and metal instead of plastic cases. They use a version of Samsung's own Idgns processor with 4 cores running at 2.1 gigahertz, plus 4 others running at 1.5 gigahertz. The phones also support wireless charging out of the box. One thing that's a big departure for Samsung is that the batteries in the phones are not removable, and there's no longer expandable storage via a micro SD card slot. Both phones will be out in April. Intel has had a lot of success with PCs and tablets, but it's really struggled when it's come to smartphones. Cracking the challenging market is the next big task for Intel CEO Brian Krzanich, who has an aggressive strategy to get its mobile processors into more handsets. The company rebranded its Atom line with the X3, X5, and X7 chips in a good, better, best order, much like its core lineup. We sat down with Krzanich this week to ask him about the company's mobile strategy.
So first we had to get our products, the right products for the smartphone space. I think it's a tighter form factor. You've got to be just right. So we've been really working hard on our modems. We announced yesterday our 7360, which will be the next generation of modem.
While Intel exceeded its goal of shipping 40 million tablets with company chips in them, Krzanich wouldn't set a goal for smartphones. Microsoft's two new phones, the Lumia 640 and 640 XL, will run Windows 10 later this year. The two mid-range phones have 5 and 5.7-inch displays. They'll both be available by April in the $200 to $300 range.
It is our ambition to bring Windows 10 to all Lumia devices running Windows 8.1. Microsoft's
Windows Phone is fighting a losing battle. Both Android and iOS are pulling away from Windows Phone, whose market share slipped from 3.3% in 2013 to 2.7% in 2014. Like Microsoft, LG is targeting the mid-tier smartphone market with two new phones. The Magna has a 5-inch 1280 by 720 pixel screen and 1 gig of RAM. It runs an unspecified 1.2 or 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor and has an 8-megapixel rear camera and 5-megapixel front-facing one. With the exception of the high-resolution camera on the back, the specification mimics what you get when you buy a second-generation Moto G, which Motorola launched last year. A strategy of targeting emerging markets, many of which have smartphone penetration of less than 40%, could work out well for LG. Markets like Asia Pacific, Latin America, the Middle East, and Africa are all expected to experience double-digit percentage growth over the next few years, outpacing the saturated North America and European markets. There's a new way to unlock your smartphone, and you don't have to use your finger. China's ZTE is using a type of retinal verification from iVerify it calls iPrint ID. Available on its Grand S3, the technology takes about 20 to 30 seconds to set up initially, but then can unlock the phone in a second or two. It can replace swiping a pattern to get into your phone, but where we can really see it being successful is being used in place of a mixed-case alphanumeric password required for most banking and credit card sites. The phone is already on sale in China for $480 US, and it will be available globally in markets later this year. ZTE isn't the only one with this idea, though. Fujitsu showed off similar technology, though it relied on an add-on piece of hardware, while the ZTE version used the phone's front-facing camera. A memory card the size of a fingernail can now hold a whopping 200 gigabytes of data. The new microSD card from SanDisk will cost $400 and be available worldwide in the second quarter. The 200 gig card represents a 56% increase in storage from the 128 gig model. SanDisk said it used a proprietary design and production process that allows for more bits of memory per chip. That means gadgets like action cameras and smartphones will be able to store more data, pictures, and video. The SanDisk card supports data transfer at up to 90 megabytes per second, or about 1,200 photos a minute. The small text and icons on smartphones makes it difficult for some people to use it, but one company has come up with a way to solve that. Emporia Smart is an Android smartphone that has a large button keypad, but when you don't need to dial the numbers, the keypad flips down to reveal a touchscreen. It also has a modified interface to better suit some users. When the button on the back is pressed for 3 seconds, it will notify emergency services and up to 5 pre-programmed contacts. It's only available in Europe and costs €300. Well, that's our show for this week. Thanks for joining us here on World Tech Update. To find out what's coming up on every week's show, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. As we head out, we'll leave you with some sights of Mobile World Congress. I'm Nick Barber, and for all of us here at the IDG News Service, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.